The fire burned low, steady, and patient, as if it had all the time in the world, and Daniel hadn't planned on coming back. Yet there he was sitting in the old leather chair, beside the fireplace in the house he once swore he would never enter again, while outside the forest looked darker than he remembered, and the trees pressed close to the windows, their branches brushing softly against the glass as if the house itself was breathing and watching him. The official report said it was an accident, a fall late at night with no witnesses, but Daniel never fully believed that version of the story, and as he stared into the flames they seemed to move slowly and deliberately, casting restless shadows across the walls while the smell of smoke filled the room, with the heavy scent of burning wood and warm ash mixed with something metallic that made his chest tighten even, though he could not explain why. Michael had moved to this house 5 years earlier, claiming he wanted silence and distance from the noise of the city, and at the time Daniel thought it was just another impulsive decision, another phase that would pass, until the night he received the phone call from the police officer who told him he should come because they had found something with his name on it, words that echoed in his mind now, as he sat alone in the dim light of the fire, feeling as though the house remembered more than it was willing to reveal. The envelope was still lying on the table beside him, thick cream-colored paper with his name, written carefully in Michael's unmistakable handwriting, and although it had been hours since he arrived, he had not yet gathered the courage to open it, because some part of him feared that whatever was inside would not bring answers, but instead uncover something he had spent years trying to forget. When Daniel finally picked up the envelope, his fingers felt colder than the air around him, and for a brief moment he considered putting it back down, pretending he had never seen it. But instead he tore the seal slowly and unfolded the single sheet of paper. Inside were only 3 words were written in dark ink. It wasn't "me," and the simplicity of the message unsettled him more than any long explanation ever could. He let out a quiet breath that almost sounded like a laugh, though there was nothing funny about the situation, and as he read the words again, the fire shifted unexpectedly, sending a wave of heat across his face, while the flames leaned sharply to one side as if reacting to something unseen, causing the shadows in the room to stretch unnaturally along the walls and across the ceiling. A memory surfaced without warning, the last serious argument he had with Michael before everything changed, voices raised in anger, accusations thrown back and forth about responsibility and blame, and he remembered walking away convinced that he was right, convinced that his brother was overreacting, never imagining that it would be the final conversation they would ever have. As Daniel stood up from the chair, the floorboards creaked beneath his weight, and the sound echoed through the quiet house, while the hallway ahead of him seemed darker than before, almost swallowing the weak light from the fireplace. And just as he turned slightly to look back at the flames, they flared suddenly brighter, and for a brief and terrifying second he thought he saw the outline